Welcome back to the Crochet Crowd as well as my friends over at Yarnspirations.com. I'm your host Mikey. Today is the Calico Flowers Crochet Scarf. This is the intermediate level. I'm going to be kicking off with starting off really slowly for this to dissect the pattern, and once you understand what is common about it, you realize that it's not as hard as it looks. I think that easy level crocheters can actually move to this one as long as they understand exactly what they're getting involved with. So today you'll need your Caron Cotton Cakes, only one ball. It's a new size, big balls of the 8.8 ounces or 250 grams, and just a size I 5.5 millimeter crochet hook. So initially when I saw this pattern I was thinking, oh Lord, we're gonna have to do all these motifs and then put them together and put it all together with the border. What I didn't realize is that this is a continuous strand. So as we build the first circle, it's the only time it appears, we start building these half motifs onto each other, but we do it as we go. So it's not separate at all. So once we get one done, we immediately jump and do the next one, and etc. But there's a commonality of this because I was looking at the pattern and I saw that there's a crochet diagram on this, and I thought, oh, I'm gonna have to remember all of these steps in order to do it, and the reality is that I don't. And the reality is that once you understand how one is done, the rest of them just fall in line just like that. So let me show you a more detailed description of this. So you're seeing this crochet diagram. Yes, it's gonna be your best friend today because once you understand how this is working, it's awesome. So let's take off the border. So if you follow the whole shape, let's take that border off. We're not gonna concentrate on that now, but what we're going to do is that we're going to do our first motif, and it will be a round circle. Once we get our round circle done is that we start then and we start slip stitching ourselves in order to start the next one that we go, and then we come in going over. So the trick to this is that we're skipping over a certain amount of stitches every time we hit the one edge here, and so we come around and then we just attach, and then we keep on going in order to get the whole concept done. Once you're done one, you do the same thing. See how we slip stitch to start the next one? Well, once we're done, we slip stitch and then we start the next one, and then we build up again. Now here's the thing, when I was doing this I had a really weird kink going on, and what I had done is that I forgot one of the rows that we were doing, and because of that it threw it and gave it like an elbow shape in this whole concept. So I was thinking, what did I do? So I had to frog it because I didn't understand, and once I got there I realized that I had accidentally skipped one of the rows. So each one of these rows that we're going to do are gonna play with each other in order to have it in balance. So as you finish up then the second one, you're gonna end up here, you slip stitch, and then you start the next one. So you essentially are building like this on an angle all the way up, and once you're satisfied with it then you're done. So it's a neat thing, and then you add a border. So let me show you the actual example itself, and then we're gonna continue from that point. So here's my example, and we're gonna start off with the main circle here, and then once we get the main circle you'll see that the slip stitch was over here, and then we just have to slip it and then start this next one, and then we build up this next one, and once we're done with that we slip it and then we come and then we build this one, and then once we're done that one we're gonna end up here, we slip it and build. So you can see that we're building like this all the way to the top. So when it changes colors it actually seems like it all works completely out, which is amazing in itself. I really have not seen a pattern do that. So I've not done anything special with the colors, it just seems to work out. So sometimes it will change in the middle just like you see, but it looks like it belongs. Isn't that the coolest thing ever? And I haven't woven in my ends yet. So what I wanted to do for you is I wanted to do a full-size scarf for the mannequin for my Crochet Crowd studio here in Nova Scotia, and I wanted to put it on the mannequin. So I did a full-size sample so that I can show you how to do the border later. So let's give it a try. I'm going to be using regular yarn today so that you can follow the stitch work, and hopefully it'll work out. So let's bring back the diagram and let's begin from that point. We're gonna start with the circle diagram right here, and then we're gonna continue. So you'll notice that I have highlighted all this stuff. I'm not gonna cloud you with that information yet, not until we get there. So we're gonna do our first motif first, and then once we have that done is that we're gonna jump back, and I'm gonna tell you why these stitch information that I added was here, because once I understood how to do the spacing then it gets a lot easier for you to remember the stitch work. So let's start the full motif, and let's grab your yarn, a 5.5 millimeter size I crochet hook. Let's play. So let's play, and I'm just substituting for Caron 1 pound yarn just so that the color doesn't change, so it's easier for you to follow the stitch work here on camera. It is an intermediate level as I mentioned. Let's chain 12. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 and 12, and let's insert that into the beginning loop or the beginning chain, and let's yarn over and pull through, and this is the very center of your your first motif, and lay down the straggler down on top so that you can trap it into position. So now what we're going to do is round number 1. We're going to chain 4. So 1, 2, 3 and 4, and I need you to put 23 trebles into this ring. So wrap in the hook twice, and we're gonna go all the way around this ring. So let's put in 23 trebles. So wrapping twice and keep going into the center and making a lot of space for it. So you will essentially have 24. So the chaining of 4 counts as one of them. So essentially you have the next one. So this is 2, 3 and so on. Please do a total number of 24 of those all the way around, and that includes that chain 4 that we started with. Please do that, and I'll see you at the end of this round. So when you have your chain 4 plus 23 trebles, which gives you a count of 24, once you have that done, just insert the hook into the top of the first chain 4 and pull through and through to close it. And everything, you might have it so that it looks like it's not balancing, but everything will move around on this. So let's begin round number 2. Round number 2, we're going to chain 1 and we're going to single crochet into the top of the first one, and then we're going to do a total of chaining of 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. This chaining of 6 will come in handy for us to know in the future for the half motifs too. So you're gonna skip the next stitch and go to the second one over and single crochet, and then you're gonna do the same thing. So chain 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then skip the next one and single crochet in the next. Please do that all the way around for round number 2. When you get all the way around, I still have one more to do, and I have to attach it to the first one. So there's a total of 11 of these chain 6 spaces. To do the very last one, to join it, you're gonna chain only 3, and then you are going to join it together with the very first one here with the double crochet. So just going into the first one and double crochet, and that finishes off that final space. So you should have a total of 12 spaces going all the way around, just like that. Okay, so you should be able to count. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12. And the reason why we did that double crochet is that it puts you in the center of this space. Let's begin round number 3. In round number 3, and it's very simple, we're just going to chain 1 and single crochet right into that same space. And now this one's just a simple round of chaining 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then come into the next space and single crochet, and then chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then in the next space. And please do that all the way around. This is round number 3. When you get back around, you're just gonna slip stitch to the first single crochet, and you will again have 12 of these chain 4 spaces going all the way around. So let's begin the final round, number 4. You're going to slip stitch into the next chain 4 space. So slip first and then chain a total of 4. So 1, 2, 3 and 4. That is your first treble in that space. So each one of the spaces, and you'll see this in the half motifs as well, they'll each have 7 trebles. So wrap in the hook twice, and let's put in 7, the first one. So I'm gonna count the chain 3 as one of them, or chain 4 as one of them. So 1, and then this is 2, and we'll do 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. So once you have your 7 done, you immediately just jump to the next space and do another 7, and you're gonna do that all the way around. And do not fasten off at the end of this, because we're gonna build then to the next motif immediately from the ending of this one. So we don't finish off, and that's why the Caron cakes look so good, is that it just keeps on going into each one of the motifs as you finish one. So the colors look like it belongs together. So there's 4, sorry, there was 5, so 6 and 7. So please do 7 trebles in each of the chain 4 spaces all the way around. So I'm just finishing up my final gapping space. I'd get in the habit after you finish the gapping spaces is that you count how many there are. So there should be a total of 12, because this is the first one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And once you're satisfied with it, then just slip stitch it to the top of the first chain 4, and let's just put this down as is, and let's go back to the diagram, because I want to show you what we're gonna do for the next half motif. Each one of the half motifs are done exactly the same way, even though it's showing you 3 different ways that it's on there. It's exactly the same each and every time, which makes it easy to remember. Okay, so the next part is going to be a little bit detailed, so if you're not interested in hearing it, just fast forward at this point. So we've just slip stitched ourselves here, and I've asked you to lay it down. I have not asked you to turn the project yet. We will when I come back to that project. And when we turn it, we're going to slip stitch to the 7th one away. So if you look, see how they're all in groups of 7? The 7th one is the first one in this section. And once you do that, you're going to slip stitch it, chain 8, and then skip 2 and then slip stitch to the next one. And then you're gonna begin row number 1. So because it's going back and forth, it's now considered a row. So you're gonna chain 4 and you're gonna slip stitch it to the 4th one away. So skip, 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 and go 4th. And you're gonna put 15 trebles into this chain 8 space. And when you get back to the other side, see where the last one you went into? So you're gonna skip, 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 and you were going to slip stitch it here. See the 4th one away. The next row, number 2, we're gonna chain up 3 and you're going to skip, 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 and just slip stitch it here, and then chain 3, and then next one in you're gonna single crochet and then chain 6, skip 1, chain 6 again, single crochet, and so on. You're gonna do that all the way back. I have put the numbers here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So I never counted this first spacing because it's joining and it's really easy to see that it's joined. So each one of these loose ones here that will show will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And once you physically see 6, you chain 3, and then when you go to slip stitch it here, you're going to skip, skip, and go to the 3rd one. And you'll remember this in time, I know you will. It's an intermediate level. And then we're gonna immediately then start. So you're gonna chain 4 and then you're going to single crochet and chain 4 into each one of these spaces all the way back. And when you get back here, this last one here, right where you did the slip stitching of this chain 6 space, or chain right in the very beginning, that's the same one you're gonna go into, and then you're gonna chain 4 and then skip again. So skip, skip, and go here, and then do your grouping of 7 trebles in each one of the spaces. Sorry it's a little long-winded, but the trick to this, the whole thing for me, is that it took me at least a couple hours to understand this pattern, and what I needed to look for is to count these spacing that you have. And once you count them, because sometimes I ended up with 7 or 8 because I wasn't understanding properly, but once I understood that the commonality was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, once I saw that, I knew I was good. And then once I came back and did my chaining of 4s with the single crochets and I had 7 spaces, I knew that I was good to go. So let's take this step by step as we begin these half motifs. Each one of these are exactly the same. So as you move up, when you finish, you're gonna end up over here, and just like we slip stitched 7 spots over, we're gonna do the same thing, and we're gonna chain 8 and then jump over 2 and so on. So when you get all this motif done, you're gonna end up here and you're gonna turn your work and slip stitch a 7 again and then chain 8. So you can see that you're going like this, but it's the same motif each and every time, so it's not different even though the positioning looks different here on the diagram. Sorry that was long-winded. Hopefully that's good to go. We're gonna try our half motif now. Okay, so we've just slip stitched here. I didn't have you turn it before I left you with this. Where I want you to turn it first, and I want you to slip stitch to the 7th away. It's the very first one of this grouping of 7, if that helps you. So just insert the hook in to the top of each one of the stitches and count 7. So this is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Now in time I found myself I wasn't counting at all because I knew that that was 7. So that's something that you can avoid having to do extra counting if you don't want to. Once I'm in that one now, I'm going to chain 8. So we're gonna create the center ring here, but remember it was 12, but now it's only gonna be 8s now from going forward. So we're gonna do that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. We're gonna skip the next 2 and slip stitch into the 3rd one away. Okay, I'm just gonna hold here for a second. Okay, ready to go? Here we go. Now we have to start our very first coming back across, but before we turn the work we have to slip stitch ourselves to that position. So we need to go to the 4th one over. So we're gonna skip, so we're gonna we're going to chain 4. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, and you're going to skip 3 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, and slip stitch to the 4th. and now you're going to turn your work. And now this is the center, so you're going to apply 15 trebles into that same chain 8 space, and that's gonna do a semicircle that will trace it around. So that was 1. So don't include this chaining of 4 that you just did. Just do 15 trebles, and I'll see you back here in just a moment. Okay, now I have my 15 trebles. I did double count just to check. So when I get back to the side, this is where it's joining with that chaining of 8 space, so I don't want to include that one, so I want to skip the next 3. So just count it. So 1, 2, 3, and slip stitch to the 4th one away. And so it looks like it's a growth on the side of your circle. So we're now going to begin the chain 6 spaces, but we have to start ourselves off first. And so what we're going to do is that we are going to chain a total of 3. So 1, 2, 3. Notice I didn't turn yet, and I want to skip to the 3rd one away. Okay, so I'm gonna slip stitch that one, and then I'm gonna turn, and now we're gonna begin this row. So you're gonna chain 3, so 1, 2, 3. So now I want to go into the 2nd one away. So this is the first treble. I want to go to the 2nd, and I want a single crochet in there, and now that one's attached. So you're going to chain 6, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, skip 1, and single crochet in the next. We've done that before, right? So you're doing it again, but in a half semicircle. So chain 6, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, skip 1, and go to the next. So when you're doing this, see this is a loose one, and this one, that's 2 of 6 that you can see so far. So you want to keep an eye on those so that you can make sure that you have 6 of those total. It makes a difference for remembering what to do in the future. So what I like to do is that I like to follow it around, and when I think that I have enough, I like to double check to make sure that there's 6 before I continue. So I keep dropping my stitches here, and then I'm gonna come in. So what I want to do is I want to make sure that there's 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I'm gonna come in, and now I physically see 6. So in order to finish off this one here, I need to chain 3. So 1, 2, 3, and when I come back here, see how this one's already attached? I want to skip a total of 2 more. So skip the next one and next, and slip stitch into the next one. Okay, so that's what I'm looking for. So I have this, the joins, and then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're now going to turn our work and move to number 3. And number 3 is really easy. Remember the chaining 4 that we did? We're going to chain 4 immediately. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and just go into the chain 6 space and slip stitch, or sorry, a single crochet. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and keep doing that all the way around. And on my sheet, if you remember, there's going to be 7 of these chain 4 spaces. So remember, we still have to come into the very first one where this chain 3 went into the first time. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you're just gonna slip into the same one. So let's count. I wasn't counting the number of spaces that I had, so we can do that now. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, and that's the magic number we need. So we're gonna do our last round for this hat motif, and then we're gonna continue from that point. So we're gonna then start the final row in order to do it. So you need to skip 3 stitches over, so just slip stitch it. So 1, 2, and 3, and then turn your work, and let's begin. So there's going to be these 7 spaces, so each one of those will get 7 trebles. So you will put 7 trebles into each one of those. So you just keep counting in groups of 7 until you get back to the other side, and I will see you there in just a moment as we then complete this motif, and then we're going to start the next one after that. So there's this 5, 6, and 7, and then just immediately jump to the next one and just fill that in with 7 and keep doing that all the way around. Make sure that you can count that there were 7 spaces and 7 groups of 7 trebles. So once you get all the way across, there should be 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and your very last one here, you want to slip stitch it, and you want to skip from the third one away. So right where you have the last join, so 1, 2, and go to the third, and that's where you're going to slip it, and that's when you're finished that particular one. So to begin the next one here, we're going to exactly do what we just did, but we have to just turn our work and then slip stitch to the 7th one away. I'm gonna take you through one more time of this whole thing, and then you can just continue to build on as long as you want to go. I believe it's around 66 inches that they're suggesting. So if you just look to the 7th one away, see how it's in groups of 7? You don't really need to count too much, and that's where you're going to begin your next one. So once you get there, chain 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. Skip 2 and slip stitch to the next one. And before you're done that, you want to chain 4. So 1, 2, 3 and 4, and skip to the 4th one away. So 1, 2, 3, 4th, and then turn, and let's begin row number 1 all over again, with this now being our center. So you can see that the center was off to the one side the first time, and now it's off to the side on the second. So let's please do this one. So you're gonna do 15 trebles into that center of the chain 8 once again. So once you verified that you have your 15 trebles in here, don't count this first one and go to the 4th one away. So starting in the next one, so 1, 2, 3 and 4, go to the 4th one and slip stitch it. And then what I need you to do is that you're going to chain 3. So 1, 2, 3, and then you're going to skip to the 3rd one away. So it's right here. And now you're going to turn your project and chain 3. So 1, 2, 3, and then you're immediately going to jump over the first treble and go to the second, and you're going to single crochet, and now you're going to start your chaining of 6s again. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, skip 1, go to the next, and you're going to continue to do that all the way around this semicircle. Please do that. How many gap spaces are you looking for? You're looking for a total of 6. So don't include the one that's attached. So 1, 2, and do that until you can see 6. Once you can see your 6, so don't include this one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You're gonna finish off, so you're gonna chain 3, and when you come over to here, you have to skip, I believe it's to the 4th one here. I'm just looking away. Sorry, it is to the 3rd one away from where this one is. So right where that is, count 1, 2 and 3, slip stitch it, and then turn your work and begin then the next row, and this one is the 4th. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and just go right into the chain 6 space and single crochet. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and continue to do that all the way around here, and I'll see you at the end of this round. So how many spaces are you gonna have? You're gonna have a total of 7. So make sure you get your 7 in order for yourself to stay in balance. When you get around, remember that after the 4th one, you're gonna go into the same one that you started with in the very beginning when you jumped up. So here we go. And now we're going to begin again. So we're gonna chain 4. So 1, 2, 3 and 4, and skipped 3 of these I believe. So 1, 2, and go to the 3rd. So we're gonna skip, this one is where it's attached, so we're gonna skip the next one. So 1, 2, and go to the 3rd, and then turn your work, and now these chain 7 spaces that you have are each gonna be 7 trebles. So that's it for being able to build on. You can just keep on building and building, and it will match up completely. And what we're going to do is that we're going to then finish off with my regular sample of showing you how to do the border. So once you have this particular motif done, you're just gonna restart again. You remember you're going to turn it, slip stitch your 7, and then get your center point all made up again, and then begin to go back and forth, and therefore you'll see that it's just gonna build up. So we're gonna come up and out and so forth. So please do that now, and I'm going to just leave that with you, and then I'm gonna bring back my regular sample here, and I'm gonna show you how to do the border, but we're gonna bring you back to the diagram first. So I'm bringing back my regular sample that I was working on in the beginning of before this. So it's not the pink one that we were doing, it's the other one. And what I have here is that we have just finished off doing this, so anytime you're ready for the border you can pretty much start, and it's just a really cool thing to do. So what I would do is I would turn the project so that it matches the direction of which the diagram is going into. So you can see that it's gonna lean over and then go up over top and then come back down. So let's go to the diagram now, and I'm gonna show you how to follow that. Okay, so let's follow the diagram. So we're gonna immediately start and we're gonna chain a total of 6. So this is gonna count as a double treble. So what we have is that here's your double treble plus to chain 1 space, just like you see. Then you're gonna skip 1 and treble into the next. Chain 1, skip 1, double crochet in the next, chain 1 and double crochet in the next. I put the 6th stitch on here, so after the 6th one is completed it's just chain 1 and half double crochets in every other one all the way around. When you get back to this side you want to look for the 6th stitch that is away from where this is connecting, and then you're gonna start and grow it out again. So there's gonna be double crochet just like you see 2 in a row. Just make sure you're skipping over your stitches, and then a treble, and then the final one will be 2 double trebles with a chain 1 space in between, and then skipping 1 and starting off with your trebles and building it out so it's 6 stitches away again. And you're just gonna keep following this all the way around. Now here's where it's gonna change just slightly here at the base. So as you get to near to the circle it's telling you that you're gonna be skipping over 2 here. If for whatever reason you don't have 2 and it's just 1, fake it. Just throw something in there. So even if it's not skipping 2, I'm not even gonna worry about it at this point. And you're gonna follow around the bottom, and again just like you have here. So these ones in between are just a nice easy flow of just watching where the 6 stitches are in order to have the growth. What I'm gonna do for you is I'm gonna get you started. I'm not gonna take you through the whole thing around because I have like a 66-inch scarf to go, but once you understand what to do in these joins it's just really easy to be able to follow this. So let's give it a try, see what we're up to. Okay, so I've turned my work and now I'm ready to go to do my border. So I'm gonna follow it all the way around the whole scarf, the whole thing. So we're gonna chain a total of 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's my double treble, and the 6 is a chain 1 space. And I'm immediately gonna skip the next double crochet that I have, the next treble, and go into the next one, and that's gonna be a treble. And then I'm gonna chain 1 and then skip 1 and double crochet in the next, chain 1 and then skip 1, double crochet in the next. So now the whole thing around the whole top thing until I get near to the connection again is all gonna be the same thing. So it's chain 1 and then skip 1 and half double crochet into the next, and I'm gonna do that until I get close to the connection on the other side. So I will catch you up there, and it's just half double crochets, chains 1 and skipping 1 stitch in between. So as I get closer to where the connection is you will notice that you will have this grouping of 7. Sometimes depending on you may not have that, but you should, and you can always fake it if something's going wrong. So you're gonna chain 1 and you want to count back to the 6th one. So you can see where it's joining and it's the second one in. So if you think about the 7 it's the 6th one, right? And so you're gonna start off then with the double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, double crochet in the next, chain 1, and then you're gonna treble into the next, and then we're gonna chain 1, and then right where they're in the join you want to apply a double treble. So you gotta wrap 3 times and finish that all the way back out, and then chain 1 and double treble again into the same one. So you can see that it grows out. So chain 1, skipping 1, and trebling into the next, and then chain 1 and then double crocheting the second one away, and then chain 1 and skipping another one again and double crocheting, and then you're back to the half double crochet. So chain 1, skip 1, and half double crochet. So every time you get close to these joins, so when I hit it again right here, I'm going to be doing that same concept of just looking for the 6th stitch away. So this is group of 7, so it's gotta be the 6th, and then I do 2 doubles and then a treble and then join with the double treble with that, and then so on. So go all the way down and then I'll see you at the end where we'll hit that round circle at the bottom, and then we'll come back up the other side of your scarf. So I'm coming down the one side, so I'm gonna whip around the full motif here, and then I'm gonna come to the other side and I'm gonna do exactly what I just showed you. So I'm just filling in the space, and then once we get all the way back to the top, then we're just gonna do one more revolution around. The nice thing about the last revolution is basically it's a half double crochet in each one of the chain one spaces followed by a chain one, so it just kind of fills things in. So as I whip around the outside of this, I'm just still placing my half double crochets in, so I'm only changing the stitches really close to where the motifs are joining with each other. So please do that all the way around. So I'm coming back around to where I had started, so I'm filling in this with the double treble. Remember I had the chaining, the 6 that we started with, so to finish off this round you're just gonna chain 1 and then just attach to the 5th chain up in order to fill it in. So the final round is really simple, so if you had to improvise at any point, it's really quite an easy pattern to be able to follow now, because all you're just going to do is just slip stitch then to the next one, and then you're just going to chain it 2, does not count as a half double crochet, and just half double crochet in the same spot. So chain 1 and then just fill in each one of the spots with the half double crochet and chain 1 after. That's all it is. So what I want you to do is go all the way around now, just doing the same thing, and you will find that all your dreams will come true. It's actually the conclusion of this final intermediate level Calico Flowers scarf. So let me do that and I'll be back in just a moment. So I'm coming all the way back around, and that's it for this particular border. Just nice and simple, and just filled in every one of the spaces with a half double crochet separated by a chain 1. So just chain 1 and then just join it to the top of the first half double crochet, and this is an intermediate level, so just weave in your ends. So just cut your yarn and weave in your ends. I would go back and forth a total of 3 times in order to do that, in order to have it completely hidden, and I am really super excited about this particular pattern. I'm excited to put it into the studio as well, and I think it's gonna be a really cool accessory for somebody that would like to have something above the normal double crochet or single crochet kind of scarf, and I think it's really awesome. When you go to weave in, stay towards the back side of the project. So just going in, and I would stay within the same color line as well, so just go back within the blue, stay within underneath the stitches, go once and then pull, but don't warp it. Go back in the other direction twice, and then the other direction 3rd time is a charm. So it never can stretch 3 different directions, and any loose ends that you may have had, make sure that you secure those, and then enjoy your scarf forever and ever. So that's it for today. Have a great day. This is Mikey on behalf of the Crochet Crowd, as well as my educational partner Yarnspirations.com. This is an amazing scarf, and it turned out really awesome, and I think that you'll enjoy it at the same time. The border just finished this off beautifully. Have a good day. We'll see you. Bye bye.